Hello, everybody. How are you doing this fine Sunday? I'm doing quite well. This story is not particularly breaking. It's from about 5 days ago, but it's so egregious that I needed to come back around and pick it back up. If you've been following my Wendy Williams coverage, then you know that I am extremely suspicious of all of this. All of a sudden, for the first time in history, people, the mainstream media, is paying attention sympathetically to a high profile celebrity ward, aka person subject to a conservatorship, aka guardianship, because they are the same thing. I have been suspicious that Gina Lisa Monterosso is referred to as so many different things here and there and everywhere, including friend all the way to healthcare advocate. I've been suspicious of who these exclusive sources are that are telling the tabloid media what's going on in court instead of us being able to read what's going on in court. So you would know, if you've watched my previous Wendy coverage, that I have these suspicions. So just 5 days ago, we get an exclusive article from People magazine. I'm going to pull that up. And I have gotten to the point in this Wendy Williams conservatorship case that anytime I see exclusive source, I'm thinking it's either going to be Gina Lisa Monterosso or Alex Finney or maybe the lawyer. I mean, it's not really coming down to that many different people at this point, in my opinion. But again, how could we possibly know if it just says exclusive source? Maybe it'll tell us who it is beyond the title. Wendy Williams, the title says, originally asked for a guardianship. Wait a second. This is the first time in my life in 3 years I'm ever hearing this. 3 years this Wendy Williams guardianship has been going on. I've never heard Wendy Williams, quote, asked for a guardianship. Not to get too in the weeds, not to be too nitpicky, but words have meaning. Okay. And what this title does not say is originally consented. It does not say that she originally agreed to a guardianship. It says asked. That indicates, because words have meaning, that she prompted it and initiated it, which is a false statement. False. Without going any farther than the comma in the first clause, Wendy Williams originally asked for a guardianship is at the extreme least a misleading statement to the point of being false. I think it's a lie. I think it's an intentional lie, but I don't know. At the very least, it is egregiously misleading. And I will show you why I'm saying that based on public evidence in just a moment, but let's read through this article. Wendy Williams originally, quote, asked for, not consented, not agreed to, not got beat down, and so she finally agreed. No. Asked for is what it says. Asked for is what I'm going to make sure they are held accountable for printing in this paper. Wendy Williams originally, quote, asked for a guardianship, but didn't think her whole life would be taken away. Exclusive source. A healthcare advocate tells People that Williams wanted the court to protect her financially. Now she's protesting her guardianship with hashtag Free Wendy movement. Some of y'all did send me the Free Wendy movement protest. And if some of y'all did go to that, that's great. That's awesome. For me, it's giving plant protest. It's giving Free Britney America. It's giving, they ran Fiverr ads, and that's what it looked like to me. Not everybody. Some people look like they probably were there because there was already like paid people there. But listen, I don't know. Only experience I have is 5 years in global socio-political human rights movements. That's all I have to go on. Okay. So I don't know anything more than the next person, but I cannot endorse that protest because I don't know how the people are going to act, who are there. I don't know who those people are. I don't know why they are there. I don't know what their intentions are. I don't. When I was going to Free Britney rallies, I personally had made contact and knew several of people there. Not the case for the Free Wendy rally. Okay. So I don't know what that was about. Okay. Wendy Williams, healthcare advocate, Gina Lisa Monterosso. Okay. It used to be her friend. Now it's healthcare advocate. Now, I mean, this time next year, she might be conservator. I'm not going to be surprised. She originally, quote, wanted to be in a guardianship. Gina Lisa Monterosso is saying that? That's not how I remember it. I don't know if Gina Lisa Monterosso wasn't around then or what. We're going to look at the evidence from the public. Wendy Williams recently amped up her demands to be free. To be free is what she wants from a restrictive guardianship that she alleges controls every aspect of her life. But her desire to end it wasn't always this way. False. This is a false statement. This is why y'all might come over here and think I'm a conspiracy theorist because I say stuff like this. This news is fake, but this is a fake news article. This is false. It's not true. It's false. It's not true. Her desire to end it wasn't always this way is a false statement. She's always wanted to end the conservatorship. She's always wanted to. aka guardianship, because they are the same thing. 3 years ago, Wendy allegedly agreed. Okay, this is a different verb than asked for. This is a different verb. Did you agree to take a pay cut, or did you ask for a pay cut? You see how that's a different thing? Going up to your boss and asking for a pay cut versus your boss comes in and says, "We doing layoffs unless you take a pay cut." Do you see how it is a different verb? Maybe Gina Lisa Monterosso needs to go back to kindergarten and learn what the verbs mean. Because asking for something isn't the same freaking thing. Wanting something is also not the same thing, Gina Lisa. Make sure you get your freaking words right. But I think that Gina Lisa is saying the wrong words on purpose. I actually have moved, in my opinion, this is not a fact. This is not a statement of fact. In my opinion, Gina Lisa has her sights set on a target, and the target is somebody she's claiming is her friend Wendy Williams, because this is lies. This is not true. So I don't know if the lies got in here because Gina Lisa said them, although she is being attributed with the lies, or if the lies got in here because somebody else put them in here. But it is not adding up to me. These are false statements, provably, demonstrably false. It is almost as if these People magazine exclusives are being the ones to set the narrative. And I'm gonna show you why I'm saying that in just a moment. Since May 2022, Wendy's been living under the guardianship, currently living in the memory care unit. Sabrina Morrissey is the only person who currently has unfettered access to Wendy. However, Wendy's healthcare advocate, Gina Lisa Monterosso, exclusively tells people that Wendy initially, quote, wanted, which is different than agreed. Okay, so we're getting different verbs. Is it wanted, is it agreed, or is it asked for? Because those are all three different things. Words have meaning. But Gina Lisa Monterosso, who is this woman? We don't know where she cropped up from. Literally, we don't. I'm just so sorry we don't. But she works in guardianships as her job. Okay, so anybody working in guardianships as their job, I'm suspicious. Exclusively tells people that Wendy initially wanted to be placed in the guardianship. No, she didn't. With the courts. No, she didn't. She claims her client didn't know all her rights would be taken away, including having no access to the internet or cell phone. In early 2022, Wendy was the subject of public scrutiny when the court filings showed that Wells Fargo froze her accounts after her financial advisor at the time, Lori Schiller, alleged that she was of unsound mind. Now, I did skip this part, but I just real quick want to show y'all. This is why it's very important. This is why it's very important what words people use, okay? Because at first it was, that's my friend. She's a mutual friend. Gina Lisa Monterosso is just a mutual friend with me and Charlemagne. And now there's a client-advocate relationship. How on earth, if Wendy Williams is not even legally allowed to enter into a contract, did she hire somebody? Gina Lisa Monterosso, Williams's healthcare advocate, quote, exclusively tells people Wendy initially wanted to be placed in the guardianship. She claims her, quote, client did not know all her rights would be taken. What do you mean a client? I thought that was her friend. I thought they were girlfriends kikiing, but now it's her client? See how we're getting one step? Every article we read, we're one step closer to Gina Lisa Monterosso being the guardian. You see that? Do you see it? Because I see it. Now, they do reference this letter, which I do have, about how Wendy did write to the court in 2022, 3 months before the guardianship started. She already wrote to the court and said, the bank is denying me to even look at my accounts. Give them a restraining order. I need to be able to look at my money. It's my money. The bank successfully petitioned the court to have Wendy put under a temporary financial guardianship that turned into a full guardianship under the state laws of New York. And y'all already know, I'm going to put the clip in right here. I already said it 3 years ago. I said, there's nothing temporary about what these people are trying to do. Y'all know what a temporary guardian means from the Britney case. It don't mean temporary. It means they intend for Wendy Williams to be in a conservatorship for the rest of her life until the day that she takes her last breath. That's what it means. They try to couch it and fluff it up at the beginning talking about temporary. Nothing is temporary about what they're trying to do. Take my word for it or don't. Temporary bullshit. The court documents stated at the time that Wells Fargo had millions of Wendy's funds, millions of dollars of her funds in its possession. They thought that she was a victim of undue influence and all of that. Gina Lisa Monterosso now claims that Williams thought that because Wells Fargo flagged the account and it went through the courts, they would protect her financially. She wanted to make sure nobody's in her money and she would be fine. She kind of felt like, hey, I have the court. They're going to sign me a money person. Like this here, the fact that Gina Lisa Monterosso is the person who's being exclusively reported as the only inside source on any of this stuff, and she doesn't know the difference between sign and assign, is frightening to me. I'm frightened. I'm going to be good that her whole life was going to be taken away. Under the guardianship, she can no longer decide where to live, how to spend her money, or even have a bank account. She can't vote. This is sinister. This is freaking sinister. Think about all the people who are allowed to vote in this country. And Wendy Williams can't vote. She can't get married, and she can't decide what doctors she wants to use. She can't decide the friends or the family that visits her. She has to get special permission, even sometimes from a judge, to travel. You have no rights. Somebody in prison has more rights than a person in a guardianship. Look at this, how interesting and cute. Exclusively from the future guardian, exclusively from the future guardian, Gina Lisa Monterosso. As far as Wendy's family petitioning to be her guardian in the meantime, Gina Lisa Monterosso, the exclusive source / obvious future guardian, says that Wendy really doesn't want the family involved. She didn't want to be any kind of burden to them. Wendy feels as if she has a voice and change to get out, so she doesn't have to try to get an alternate plan. And that I will agree with Gina Lisa Monterosso. There does not need to be a guardianship, period. I do not want to see anybody trying to become an interim guardian. No. Petition to end it, or else I'm going to be talking about it as if y'all are trying to keep her in it. She's able to get a lawyer. Everyone's looking at the case. There's movement. People are listening to her now, so she's confident that she's going to continue to fight. She begged to get out of the guardianship in January. I am not cognitively impaired. I feel like I am in prison. I'm in this place with people who are in their 90s, their 80s, 70s. These people, there's something wrong with these people here on this floor. That wasn't the only article that came out saying something like that. Okay. I'm just going to read through some of the other article titles. I don't know if I'm going to actually edit these in here, but I have them typed down in my notes right here. New York Post. Wendy Williams initially thought guardianship was for finances, not loss of control. From a source. This was this month, April 1st. All of these were on April 1st. Same day. Vibe magazine. Wendy Williams sought guardianship. Look at that verb, sought. Not agreed to, but didn't think her whole life would be taken away. That was Vibe. Entertainment Weekly, quote, Wendy Williams asked for a guardianship, but didn't think her entire life would be taken away. Ryan Coleman and Entertainment Weekly. And I'm afraid to tell you that what I have been fearing this whole time has finally started. They're trying to rewrite history. Also, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Down the Rabbit Hole News, who did already cover this story. Shout out to her, and she has the cutest new theme song, so shout out to her.
Investigating, being nosy, super nosy, being messy, being shady, rabbit hole news. That's me, the chick with ADHD, unmedicated, but quite educated. But
she was also mentioning, like, what is a healthcare advocate? Because Rabbit has a master's degree in, oh, excuse me, girl, if I get your exact credentials wrong, but it's in like social work. She has a master's degree. She used to work with clients before she had her baby, and now she's doing the YouTube thing like me, and now we have the same job. She has a background in mental health, master's degree. Okay, there's only like 2 classes at the community college. You get a master's degree. Even if you have 2 classes in the community college, you might got more than me. But she also pointed out how strange it was that Gina Lisa Monterosso went from friend to now healthcare advocate, because words have meaning. I'll link her video in the description below. But while I was watching Rabbit's video, while I was looking at all these article titles, it was just astonishing to me and frankly unbelievable that Wendy ever asked for a guardianship. Now, would it be believable to me that Wendy agreed or conceded or consented to a guardianship after it already had been basically shoved down her throat, and she was told it was going to be temporary and then she would be able to get out of it after they figured out what was going on with her finances? Maybe they would do an audit or something. Yeah, I believe that could have happened. Could have. But I do not ever think that Wendy Williams ever, and there's no evidence in the public record other than Gina Lisa Monterosso, who in my opinion has a massive conflict of interest, for her own career and her own professional profile to be raised by becoming Wendy Williams's healthcare advocate and becoming Wendy Williams's potential future guardian. It's the only evidence we have at all whatsoever, period, that Wendy ever, quote, asked for a guardianship. And it seems like Gina Lisa Monterosso has a hard time picking which words she wants to use, considering she doesn't say assign, but she says sign. I don't know if Gina Lisa Monterosso has a very strong grasp on the English language. I don't know if she really cares about how important words are. But over here on this channel, we really care. So I want to see proof other than from the self-serving, conflicted statements being attributed to Gina Lisa Monterosso, whom Wendy Williams is a client, quote, client of, client, not friend, client. I want to see proof Wendy Williams actually affirmatively, quote, asked for this guardianship, as opposed to just agreed to it temporarily until they figured out money, because that's different stuff. Asked for a guardianship, sought a guardianship, asked for a guardianship, but didn't think her entire life would be taken away. So let's just pause right there, because I've been talking about this since before the media would even make a peep about it. Before a documentary, before any of that crap, I have been talking about it before the media spin ever started. Years, plural years, like at least 3. The first video I made on this was February 10th, 2022, titled Wells Fargo Files for Conservatorship of Wendy Williams, and it's guardianship, same thing. A week later, February 17th, 2022, Wendy Williams court documents all sealed overnight. Now, at that time, all of the documents were sealed, and I couldn't get any new updates except for tabloids and hope that they're telling the truth. Thank God that I made those videos, though, when I did, and I do have a playlist and you can go watch them. But if I had not made those videos, all these exclusive headlines literally attributed to Gina Lisa Monterosso, who I never heard this woman's name since till about 2 months ago, a month ago. Wendy Williams did not ask for or seek this guardianship, and there are public records to prove it. It really is casting doubt on any and everything that this woman, Gina Lisa Monterosso, has ever said, because either she's lying on purpose or she is so utterly negligent and incompetent as to make me wonder whether or not she needs to have her affairs looked at by somebody else, because maybe she got to need a conservatorship or jail, because Wendy Williams not seek this guardianship. You know what she did seek? A temporary restraining order, a restraining order against her own bank, who was trying to take her right to vote. A bank can take away your right to vote, y'all. Did you know? Welcome to America. But you know what else I noticed about People Magazine? Miss Danielle Batcher. She seems to get all the exclusives, especially from this healthcare advocate, Gina Lisa Monterosso. Like, look at this example right here. Wendy is excited that a trial by jury will soon decide her fate. Quote, this is something she's been wanting to say. She just can't wait to get her story out. Or what about this one right here? Wendy Williams has forgiven her son for allegedly mishandling her money. They were able to get through that. Exclusive. Danielle Batcher. And then, of course, there's this one that started this whole thing. Wendy Williams originally, quote, asked for a guardianship, but didn't think her whole life would be taken away. Exclusive source. Now, would you be surprised to find out that Sabrina Morrissey, the current guardian, not the future prospective one, the current guardian, is also giving exclusive statements to this same journalist. Yeah, I'm gonna show y'all that one. Wendy Williams' guardian claims she has declined medical testing amid fight to end guardianship. Exclusive. Danielle Batcher. So that must really be a special journalist, huh, Miss Danielle? She's getting all the exclusives. Now, I do want to be clear, just want to remind y'all that I say it in every video. I sincerely hope and pray that I'm wrong about my suspicions. I hope that Wendy Williams is going to be free from this guardianship, and I am hoping that nobody else is going to be subject to this. I'm hoping that Gina Lisa Monterosso is doing what she claims to be doing, which is trying to help get Wendy free. I hope so. I really do. But in my opinion, a lot of these media campaigns and a lot of these headlines, they really are not in Wendy's best interest, and they're not helping her at all. If anything, it just kind of makes it look more and more and more like Wendy's family is exploiting her, has exploited her. There's an exclusive source who's saying Wendy's family doesn't want anything to do with it so that somebody else can come through and pluck up Wendy's rights. Her right to vote. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm just telling y'all, I read it from the People Magazine article with y'all. It's public. Now, I did make a video how they got Wendy into guardianship, the setup. But for now, I just want to watch some clips from that video and revisit what Wendy and her lawyer actually said before the court sealed everything. But yes, they are still public documents because they were available to the public and I got them publicly. So first we're going to read Wells Fargo's lawyer's letter and we're going to get their side of it. What I'm about to pull up is actually a letter from the bank. This video is 3 years old. April 2022. Bank's attorneys, okay? The court. Here y'all go. Wells Fargo has filed a petition in the guardianship part. Appointment of a guardian of the property of the petitioner. That's Wendy. Here. Does that say Wendy Williams sought? Does that say Wendy Williams agreed? Does it say she asked for? No. It's a letter from Wells Fargo to the judge saying, Wells Fargo has filed a petition in the guardianship for the appointment of a guardian. Not Wendy. Not Wendy. Under Article 81 of the Mental Hygiene Law. This isn't the craziest part. Just wait till what Wendy's lawyer says back. Like to do so under seal or in another manner that will preserve the confidential nature. So then they seal it to keep it a secret from all of us. Of a guardianship proceeding. AKA, we don't want that surprise witness and the rest of the gang to get a hold of the guardianship petition because we might have done some messed up stuff in it. Fargo has strong reason to believe that Wendy is the victim of undue influence and financial exploitation. By who? You? Fargo is. So if she's the victim of undue influence and financial exploitation, how or why would her seeking of a guardianship or any legal arrangement be valid? They're arguing on both sides of their mouth, Wells Fargo, at that time. Lying not only on the reports of Laurie Schiller, who apparently is not a doctor, so I don't know what the hell she has to do with this, who has recently witnessed telltale signs of exploitation, including the petitioner's own expressed apprehensions, but also upon other independent third parties who know the petitioner well and share these concerns. So they all got together and gossiped about Wendy Williams and then froze her bank account. That's what they're. Isn't that cute? They got together, shared their concerns, my opinion, plotted, schemed. Because what did Wendy say? There were millions of dollars. I can give you millions of reasons why they might have the incentive to do that. Telling us, they're admitting it to you. Just wait till you hear what Wendy's lawyer says about this guardianship. Chris says, we respectfully suggest to preserve the confidential interests of the alleged incapacitated person. They're calling Wendy an alleged incapacitated person already. There has been no determination made. Fargo is merely a stakeholder in this proceeding. Yeah, right. Merely a stakeholder. Wells Fargo is the one who's alleging she's incapacitated. Because as a background, at this time, Wendy was trying to get her money out of Wells Fargo. She was trying to take all her money to another bank because she did not trust these people, Laurie Schiller. And as it turns out, Wendy had a good reason not to, because she's lost her right to freaking vote. I don't care how much somebody's money is being abused. It's just impossible that means it's okay to take away their right to vote. How are you going to take away somebody's right to vote? For what? Having dementia? Girl. Okay, merely a stakeholder. That's cute. So now I'm going to show y'all what her lawyer said back. It's going to be Wendy Williams' lawyer's response to what we just read, to that other lawyer's letter. But this is the thing that is going to make y'all so mad. This is what's going to freak y'all out to the extreme fullest. Have reviewed opposing lawyers, right? Wells Fargo's lawyer's letter dated February 9th, 2022, referencing a guardianship proceeding concerning Wendy. We have not been notified of any such proceeding, and we have no knowledge of it. Fargo went behind Wendy's back, Wells Fargo filed for a guardianship without Wendy's knowledge. That does not sound to me like somebody that sought the guardianship. Does it? So why is it that Gina Lisa Monterosso is being cited in Vibe magazine as seeking? Originally, Wendy Williams sought the guardianship. Why? It's not true. It's false. Behind Wendy's lawyers back and filed for a guardian. Wendy's own lawyers said specifically, Wells Fargo filed for this thing without even giving Wendy notice. Then wrote a letter to the court like, oh, we filed for a guardianship. Now you have Wendy's lawyer saying, we don't know shit about that filing. A guardianship. Less. Wendy denies that she's the victim of undue influence and financial exploitation. So I don't know who this Laurie Schiller person is, but shut up. Wells Fargo's Does it sound like she still at this point is seeking a guardianship? No. It sounds like she's seeking relief from Wells Fargo for taking over her, not only finances, her rights. I will remind you from the Exclusive People article, she lost her right to vote. Assertion that its suspicions are genuine. Their decision to deny Wendy access to her own money for weeks without providing her or her lawyer any explanation or evidence to support its decision, and their decision to wait until Wendy had to file a court filing gives us reason to question whether or not they really are suspicious and genuine, or if they're maybe trying to pull some scandal behind the scenes. Almost like they didn't want Wendy Williams to take her money out of their bank. Racket. It's a racket. Oh, Wells Fargo's lawyer states that his client's actions are for the protection of Wendy Williams' financial assets and her confidentiality. Millions of dollars had to have come out of that estate so far. Millions. All those lawsuits Sabrina Morrissey is using Wendy Williams' money to file, although she claims she's not using Wendy's money. But Wells Fargo's delay in resolving this matter and their denial to allow her to pay her debts or even access her current account statements is in fact harming and not protecting those very same interests. And the fact that they're not even letting her pay her bills, she's accumulating debts. They're saying that's to protect her, letting her accounts go into collection. So flabbergasted and so astounded at is that Wendy's lawyer didn't even know about these guardianship proceedings. Does that sound like somebody that asked for Sought. His lawyer doesn't even know. I went to look up the guardianship proceedings, and guess what, y'all? The only way that you can access guardianship filings and records is to make an in-person appointment and go to New York after making the in-person appointment and dig through the paper file. Now it's sealed. You can't go do that no more. Oh, they're not available online. This is a racket. This is not transparency of our government. This is not transparent. This is not. September 2021, Wells Fargo gets into trouble yet again over alleged fraud. I mean, listen, Wells Fargo seems like they got a lot bigger problems to be worrying about than trying to put famous Black women into conservatorships. And yet, in 2021, we have a bank, a financial institution that this lady just happened to just have her money with, filing to put a woman into a conservatorship. So Fargo has filed a petition. What on God's green earth is a freaking financial institution filing for a conservatorship or a guardianship to be put over someone? Now, there's a lot still wondering, chit chat going about the Twitter about, oh, it's a guardianship, it's not a conservatorship. Y'all, it is the same thing. I don't know if y'all know this or not, but conservatorships and guardianships are the same thing. Guardianship and a conservatorship are the same thing. It is a reassignment of certain of your allegedly inalienable rights to somebody else. Okay, so look, this is not even the worst part. I mean, the whole thing is the worst part, but it gets worse. Yet another letter from Wells Fargo's attorneys sent yesterday to the court. They are concerned about Wendy's situation. Well, I'm concerned about her situation too. You got a friggin' bank trying to put a conservatorship on a human. What on earth? I'm concerned about her situation too. Concerned. We're concerned. This man has concerns about Wendy Williams. He's concerned. Hope that the guardianship court will imminently appoint a temporary guardian. And y'all know what a temporary guardian means from the Britney case. It don't mean temporary. It means they intend for Wendy Williams to be in a conservatorship for the rest of her life until This 3 years ago. She thought it was, now it's all in the headlines. Now it's all in the People magazine. Oh, she didn't know. She thought it was temporary. Well, if she would have watched my video, she would have knew. That she takes her last breath. That's what it means. They try to couch it and fluff it up at the beginning, talking about temporary. Nothing is temporary about what they're trying to do. Take my word for it or don't. Temporary bullshit. Our hope that the court will take away Wendy Williams' rights, even though we didn't give her notice that we were filing that, even though we didn't tell her attorney that we were filing that. It is our hope to take away and steal her rights and her property. That's what it says. He likes to use different words for that, but what do we know that it means? Imminently appoint a temporary guardian or evaluator to review the situation and ensure that the petitioner's affairs are being all the while this was going on. Wendy Williams was not notified. She wasn't even notified. Wells Fargo filed for a guardianship literally behind Wendy Williams's back. And what was Wendy Williams? Just let's recap real quick. What was Wendy Williams to Wells Fargo? A client. What was Wendy Williams to Wells Fargo? A client. Clients have certain expectations. People who have clients have duties to those clients. I remain concerned 3 years later about the fact that not only was Wendy Williams railroaded, obviously publicly railroaded into a guardianship, aka conservatorship, because they are the same thing. Not only was she kept in it for so long, not only did a bank put her in it, a bank, but now we have this friend turned healthcare advocate saying demonstrably, provably false, untrue, at the very, very best, extraordinarily misleading statements to the media. Wendy Williams did not ask for, she did not seek, and she did not even accept the guardianship. What the public record clearly shows and clearly demonstrates is that from the moment Wendy Williams found out that Wells Fargo was trying to put her into a conservatorship, she has fought. She has objected. She has opposed. From the moment she found out, there is not a shred of public evidence to support the preposterous proposition that Wendy Williams ever even so much as agreed to a conservatorship, aka guardianship, much less evidence that she, quote, sought or asked for it. Wendy knew from the very first moment she knew about this guardianship that it was for far more than just controlling her finances. And in fact, and indeed, she never even agreed to that aspect, not in the public record. Now, of course, because Gina Lisa Monterosso has a client relationship with Wendy, maybe she has evidence that we don't have. Maybe she has information that we don't have. And this creates a problem because we, the people, should be able to see those previously public court documents as well as the ones that are being filed now, because that is how it is supposed to work. I do not consent to allowing these people to come and rewrite history, to come and change history, change the truth, and impose upon it delusions, falsehoods. I don't consent. Hashtag open the docket.
My thing is that I've been asking questions about my money. And when I began asking questions about my money, suddenly Lori Schiller has got no response regarding my money. I want my money. This is not fair. And Wells Fargo has no questions and answers with regarding my money. This is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair. And Lori Schiller and Wells Fargo have this guardianship petition about keeping me away from my money. This is not right. And you know this is not fair. And this guy named Bernie Young, I know for a fact that Bernie Young used my American Express card to hire an attorney to file a petition against me. That was done with my American Express card. Bernie Young, you're no good. And this is not fair at all, you know? And then there's this person, a former doctor, okay, had medical information about me that I never even got. It was sent over to Lori Schiller. So I haven't gotten the stuff. I fired the doctor. And again, all I want to know is where is my money? This is not right. And certainly, this is not fair. This is not fair. You know? Wells Fargo has used all this stuff to create the guardianship over me. This is not right. And certainly this is not fair. The New York court system is, without evidence, they're being weird to me, this court system. Without evidence, they took all this information and continued with what's going on with me based on what Wells Fargo is doing. This is not fair. This is not fair, you know? And the New York court is treating me like they did in, do you remember Kung Fu Judge case? Do you remember that Kung Fu Judge case? That's not right, and that is not fair. Lori Schiller, Bernie Young, and Wells Fargo, please let me have access to my money. This is not right. And again, this is not fair. Have a pleasant day. Thank you.
That's all I really had for this one. In the meantime, facts ain't defamation, neither are opinions, neither speculations. Love you, Mina K. Bye.